first book of the first lords. Being contemporary with the book of Sethantes, son of Jehovih. That is to say, as Sethantes was God of heaven, so in the same period of time his lords had dominion on the earth, and this is their book, even as the preceding one was God's book. Chapter I. 1. In the beginning God created the heavens of the earth. And the Lord made man upright. And man was naked and not ashamed. Neither knew man the sin of incest, but he dwelled as the beasts of the field. 2. And the Lord brought the angels of heaven to man. By his side took they on forms like unto man, having all the organs and attributes of mortals, for it was the time of the earth for such things to be. 3. And it came to pass that a new race was born on the earth, and these were called Eons, because they were begotten of both heaven and earth. Hence it became a saying, the earth conceived of the Lord. 4. And the name of the first race was Oahspe, because they were of the earth only. And the name of the second race was Abel, because they were capable of being taught spiritual things. 5. And the Lord said, of all that live on the face of the earth, or in the waters thereof, or in the air above, that breathes the breath of life, man only have I delivered unto knowledge of his Creator. 6. And the Lord spake unto the Eon, through his angels spake he to them, saying, Go hide thy nakedness, for it is the commandment of God. 7. And the Eons were afraid, and they clothed themselves, and were no longer naked before the Lord. 8. And the Lord commanded the angels to give up their forms, and to be no more seen as mortals. And it was done. And the Lord said unto them, Because ye brought forth life, which is in flesh and blood, ye shall minister unto man for 6 generations on the face of the earth. And it was so. 9. And that man may continue to walk upright, ye shall teach him the law of incest, for man of himself cannot attain to know this. 10. Neither shall ye permit the Eons to dwell with Oahspe, lest a seed go down in darkness. 11. And man was thus inspired of the Lord, and he walked upright, and prospered on the earth. 12. But after a season man became conceited in his own judgment, and he disobeyed the commandments of God. 13. And he strayed out of the garden of paradise and began to dwell with the Adams, and there was born into the world a new race called Cain, and they had not the light of the Father in them, neither could they be inspired with shame, nor of heavenly things. 14. And the Eons were grateful to the Lord, and they gave sacrifice and burnt offerings. And they said unto the drunks, Go ye and sacrifice unto the Lord, and he will prosper you. But the drunks understood not. And they fell upon the Lord's chosen, and slew them, right and left, taking their possessions. 15. And the Lord said unto the drunks, Because ye have slain your brethren, ye shall depart out of the place of God. And that ye may be known to the ends of the earth, I put my mark upon you. 16. And the mark of the Lord put upon the drunks was the shadow of blood, which, being interpreted, is war. 17. And the Lord God said, By this sign shall the tribes of Druk and their descendants be known unto the end of the world. 18. And woman, being more helpless than man, cried out with fear, saying, O Lord, how shall I bring forth unto thee, and not unto the sons of death? 19. And the Lord said, Because thou hast brought forth in pain, and yet called on my name, behold, I will be unto thee as a shield and protector. For I will also put a mark upon the Eons, my chosen, so thou shalt know them when they come unto thee. 20. And the Lord commanded the male Eons, old and young, to be circumcised, that woman might not be deceived by the drunks. And the Eons circumcised one another, old and young. For it was the testimony of the Lord unto woman, that seed of their seed was born to everlasting life. 21. And the drunks went away into the wilderness, and dwelt with the Eons and with one another. 22. God said, A boundary line will I make betwixt the tribes of drunks and the Eons. And this is the line that I the Lord God make betwixt them. 23. The Eons shall labor and clothe themselves, and I will abide with them. But the drunks shall wander in the wilderness, neither laboring nor clothing themselves. 24. And it was so. Chapter E. 1. The time of the habitation of Oahspe was 8,000 years. And they survived 2,000 years after the time of the birth of the Eons, which is to say Oahspe dwelt on the earth 6,000 years, and then conceived of the chosen of God. And after that survived yet 2,000 years. 2. And Oahspe Adam disappeared off the face of the earth. 3. And there remained on the earth a sacred people, the Eons. And the carnivorous people, the Druks. 4. The Eons were white and yellow, but the Druks were brown and black. The Eons were small and slender, but the Druks were tall and stout. 5. Now, because the Druks had not previously obeyed the Lord, but went and dwelt with the Asuans, there was a half-breed race born on the earth, called Yak, signifying ground people. And they burrowed in the ground like beasts of the forest. And the Yaks did not walk wholly upright, but also went on all fours. 6. God said, because the Yaks cannot be taught the crime of incest, behold, they shall not dwell forever on the earth. So also shall it be with the Druks, save wherein they cohabit with the Eons, whose seed is born unto everlasting life. But with the Druks, and their heirs that spring from the Yaks, there shall be an end, both in this world and the next. 7. And the arms of the Yaks were long, and their backs were stooped and curved. And the Lord said, because they are the fruit of incest, and not capable of speech, nor of eternal life in heaven, the Eons shall make servants of them. 8. And that they may not tempt my chosen to bring forth fruit unto destruction, they shall be neutralized in my sight. And the angels of God taught the Eons to make eunuchs of the Yaks. Of the males and females made the Eons eunuchs of the Yaks, and took them for servants. 9. And the Lord said, the Yaks shall serve the Eons, and build and sow and reap for them. And it was so. 10. The Eons were disposed to live alone, but the Lord called them together, saying, come and dwell together in cities. For it is meet that ye live after the manner of my kingdoms in heaven. 11. Build ye therefore unto the Lord your God. And my angels shall dwell with you, teaching you to sing and dance for the glory of your Creator. 12. And man built unto the Lord, and established worship on earth after the manner of heaven. 13. Now it came to pass that the Druks came to witness the rites and ceremonies of the chosen, but they took no part therein, neither comprehended they the meaning thereof. 14. And God said unto the Eons, that ye may teach some of them of the Lord your God, build ye within the house of worship an image of me. In likeness of man build ye it. And I will manifest unto as many as are capable of everlasting life. 15. And the Eons, men and women, with their servants, built images of stone and clay and wood unto the Lord, and stood them by the altars of sacrifice. 16. And in the time of worship, the angels of the Lord came and possessed the idols and spake therefrom, with audible voices spake before mortals. 17. And the Druks inquired of the Eons as to the cause thereof. And the Eons said, behold, there is a God in heaven, more subtle than the air of heaven. He it was that brought us forth out of darkness. He speaketh an idol that ye may know he abideth with his people. 18. The Druks said, what saith he? The Eons answered, saying that whosoever hath attained to remember God is in the way of everlasting life. 19. The Druks inquired, saying, how shall a man live forever? Behold, ye that believe also die. 20. The Eons answered, saying, as the voice of the Lord is unseen but potent, so is there a spirit in man unseen and potent, which shall never die, but ascend to heaven to habitations prepared by the Lord. 21. And many of the Druks pondered on these things, and their thoughts quickened their souls within them, so that they brought forth heirs unto eternal salvation. 22. And the Lord said unto the Eons, because ye have done a good thing, go ye abroad, by the roadsides and in other places, and build images unto me and mine, and my angels shall bestow gifts and signs and miracles. 23. And the Eons covered the roadways of the earth over with idols of stone and wood and clay, and the angels of heaven descended to the idols and established thereabout heavenly kingdoms. 24. And when man came hither, and called on the name of the Lord, it was as a password for the angels. And they wrought miracles, and otherwise gave evidence unto man of the unseen. Chapter 3. 1. And God gave commandments unto man, that the earth might be a place of rejoicing forever. And these are the commandments of the Lord God as given in the day 2. Thou shalt strive to remember the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul. 3. Thou shalt not kill man, nor beast, nor bird, nor creeping thing, for they are the Lord's. 4. Thou shalt build walls round about thy cities, that beasts and serpents may not enter and do thee harm. And if thy habitation be in the wilderness, thou shalt build mounds of wood and earth to sleep on at night, that serpents and beasts may not molest thee. 5. The Ehans inquired of the Lord, saying, If we build walls around about our cities, how shall we get in and out? How shall we gather our harvests of fruit and nuts and seeds of the field? How shall we ascend on the mounds which we build in the wilderness? 6. The Lord said, Behold, my angels shall teach you to build ladders and how to use them. And when ye go into the city at night ye shall take the ladders in after you. And when ye come out in the morning ye shall let the ladders down again. 7. And God's angels taught the chosen these things, and man provided the cities with ladders, and he provided the mounds with ladders also. According to the commandment of God were these things done. 8. And the Ehans prospered and spread abroad over the face of the earth. Hundreds of thousands of cities and mounds built they, and they rejoiced in the glory of all created things. Neither killed they man, nor beast, nor fish, nor bird, nor creeping thing that breathed the breath of life. 9. And God saw that man was good and grateful in all things. And God called unto the angels of heaven, saying, Why are the Ehans good? For, as yet, they are ignorant. 10. And the angels answered, saying, Because thou saidst unto us, Go ye, as guardian angels, and inspire man to live without evil, even so have we administered unto the Ehans, guarding and inspiring them night and day. 11. God said, Why then, the Ehans have no honor? Except they learn of themselves to be good, they will be void of wisdom in heaven. For this reason ye shall withdraw a little, that man be tried as to his self-commandment. 12. And the angels withdrew a while from the Ehans. And now it came to pass, that they had stored in their cities and on their mounts ample provision of food and raiment for the winter. But the Druks followed not the example of the Ehans, for the Druks stored up nothing. 13. And when the angels departed a little way, evil spirits came to the Druks, and said unto them, Behold, it is winter, and ye are hungry. Go ye over the ladders and possess the stores of the Ehans. 14. And the Druks plundered the Ehans. And evil spirits sat upon the Ehans also, and many of them were inspired to defend their stores. And war ensued. And it spread around about the whole earth. 15. And the Ehans besought the Lord as to why God suffered evil to come upon his chosen. 16. And the Lord said, Because ye depended upon me for all things, ye developed not yourselves. Henceforth shall man learn to face evil on his own account. Otherwise he could not attain to the Godhead in heaven. 17. Two entities hath thy Creator given thee, that which is flesh, and that which is spirit. And the flesh shall desire earthly things, but the spirit shall desire heavenly things. 18. Behold, when the Druks came upon thee for thy stores, thy flesh cried out war, and thy people fell. 19. Again have I come to thee to raise thee up, to make thee understand the spirit within. It is that, and not the flesh, which shall learn to triumph. 20. The Ehans said, Our people are scattered and gone. Will they not mingle with the Druks, and thus go out in darkness? 21. The Lord said, Behold, there were Druks who had learned a little from the images. Now because thy people are scattered and gone, they shall go amongst the Druks and teach the law of incest in the name of God, and they shall also begin to hide their nakedness. 22. So the Lord inspired other people besides the Ehans, to make and wear clothes, and they thus wore them. 23. And again the Lord brought the Ehans together in lodges and cities, and he said unto them, Henceforth ye shall live upon the earth as an example of righteousness. And your brethren who have mingled with the tribes of darkness shall no longer molest you, but be your defenders and protectors. 24. and there began to be a new tribe on the earth. And they were called Elohans, because they were half-breeds, betwixt the Druks and Elohans. The Elohans were red like copper, and they were taller and stronger than any other people in all the world. And the Lord commanded the Elohans, saying 25. Protect ye the Elohans, the little people, white and yellow. Call them the sacred people, for ye are of them, and ye are also of the Lord your God. And it was so. Chapter IV. 1. About this time man began to use his lip and tongue in enunciating words, prior to which he spoke in the thorax. 2. And the Lord spake unto the Elohim, saying that the labor of the Lord thy God may be remembered on the earth, go provide me a stone and I will engrave it with mine own hand, and it shall be called Semoin. See first tablet, book of Sapha, because it shall be a testimony unto all nations and peoples, on the earth, of the first written language in all the world. 3. And the Elohim prepared a stone, and hewed it flat and then polished it smooth. And the Lord came down in the night and engraved it. And the Lord explained it. Through his angels taught he the Elohim the meaning of the characters engraved thereon. 4. And the Lord said, Go into all cities in all the countries of the world, and provide ye copies like unto the tablet I have given. So it came to pass, the angels of heaven inspired the Elohim to make tablets and to read them, that the first language of the earth Panic might be preserved to the races of men. And it was so. 5. Now the Elohim partly obeyed the Lord and partly obeyed the way of the flesh. And they became warriors and destroyers. Nevertheless they harmed not the Elohim, nor suffered harm to come upon them. 6. God had commanded the Elohim to make eunuchs of the yaks, the monstrosities, and use them as servants. For the Lord saw that the yaks were not capable of everlasting life in heaven. 7. Now the Elohim also served the yaks in the same way. But they disobeyed God in inflicting the neutral gender on their enemies whom they captured in war. And although they were themselves half-breeds with the Druks, yet they hated the Druks, and pursued them with vengeance. 8. In those days the relative proportion of the races of men were Elohans, 100. Elohans, 300. Druks, 5,000. Yaks, 5,000. And of monstrosities betwixt man and beast, 3,000. But the latter died each generation, for they had not the power of procreation amongst themselves. 9. And God saw the work of destruction going on of the Elohim slaughtering right and left, and he sent the Elohim to preach amongst them, saying to the Elohim. 10. Thus say ye to the Elohim, whomsoever is created alive, kill not, for it is the commandment of the Lord. 11. For in the time of your most success in slaughtering your fellow man, ye are also peopling heaven with the spirits of vengeance. And they will return upon you, and even the Elohim shall turn upon one another. Thus saith God. 12. But the Elohim understood not, believed not. And it came to pass that great darkness covered the earth. And man, save the few Elohims, gave up to wickedness all his days. 13. And the Lord's people worshipped and preached in the temples, and the Lord and his heavenly hosts manifested unto them. But all the other races of men heard not, would not come to learn of God. 14. And the Lord became tired in his labor, and he called his angels to him, and he said unto them, Behold, man on the earth hath gone so far from my ways he will not heed my commandments. He cannot hear my voice. 15. And your labor is in vain also. For which reason we will tarry no longer on the earth till man hath exhausted the evil that is in him. 16. So the Lord and his angel hosts departed away from the earth. And clouds came over the face of the earth. The moon shone not, and the sun was only as a red coal of fire. And the stars stood in the firmament as well in the day as at night. 17. The harvest failed. The trees yielded no nuts, and the roots on which man feedeth ceased to grow. 18. And the monstrosities, and the yaks, and the druks, died off, tens of millions of them. And even yet they were not extinct. Nevertheless, the Elohim suffered less. And the Elohims not at all. For the Lord had previously inspired them to provide against the coming famine. 19. And the Lord bewailed the earth and the generations of man. I made man upright and walked by his side, but he slipped aside and fell, said the Lord. I admonished him, but he would not heed. I showed him that every living creature brought forth its own kind. But he understood not, believed not. And he dwelt with beasts, falling lower than all the rest. End of the first book of the first Lords, second book of Lords of the second cycle, being cotemporaneous with the book of Oahspe, son of Jehovih. Chapter I. 1. In the beginning man was naked and not ashamed. But the Lord raised man up and bade him hide his nakedness, and man obeyed, and was clothed. 2. And the Lord walked by man for a long season, showing him the way of resurrection. And man was obedient, depending on the Lord for all things. 3. And the Lord said unto man, Behold, I have walked with thee, and taught thee. But by my indulgence thou hast neglected to put forth thine own energy. 4. Now I am going away from thee for a season, that thou mayst learn to develop thyself. 5. But lest thou stumble and fall, I leave with thee certain commandments, and they shall be a guide unto thee and thy heirs forever. 6. Hear thou then the commandments of the Lord thy God. 7. Thou shalt love thy Creator with all thy mind, and heart, and soul, all the days of thy life. 8. And thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. 9. Because thou wert born into the world without covering, thou shalt clothe thyself. 10. Then inquired man of the Lord, Behold, thou hast shown the ass what is good for him to eat, and the fish, and the serpent, and the lion, every living creature. But man only hast thou not shown. 11. The Lord said, Of everything that groweth up out of the ground that is good to eat give I unto thee, and they shall be food for thee. 12. But of all things of flesh and blood, wherein is life, thou shalt not eat. 13. For thou shalt not kill. 14. Man inquired of the Lord, Thou hast shown the males and females of all the living the times and periods to come together. But man and woman hast thou not shown. 15. The Lord said, Thou shalt learn from the beasts, and birds, and fishes, that the female during gestation is in keeping of her Creator. 16. Thou shalt also respect the times of woman. 17. Man inquired of the Lord, Thou hast shown the bird how to build her nest, and the carnivore how to scent the subtle track of his prey, and the spider to weave his net. But as to the manner of man's house, or as to herbs that are good or are poisonous, thou hast not shown man. 18. The Lord said, All the instinct that is in the bird, or beast, or fish, or insect, or creeping thing, was created with them, but man was created blank. And yet man shall attain to more subtle senses than any other living creature. 19. Man inquired, How shall man attain to these? 20. The Lord answered, Serve thy Creator by doing good unto others with all thy wisdom and strength, and by being true to thine own highest light, and all knowledge shall come to thee. 21. So the Lord left man for a season to himself. And man so loved the earth and whatsoever ministered unto his ease, and to his flesh desires, that he fell from his high estate. And great darkness came upon the earth. And man cast aside his clothes, and went naked, and became carnal in his desires. Chapter E. 1. The Lord went abroad over the earth, calling, Come to me, O man. Behold, thy Lord is returned. 2. But man heard not the voice of the Lord. For, by man's indulgence, the spirit of man was covered up in his own flesh. 3. The Lord sent his Louis masters of generations, angels next in rank above guardian angels, that is, Ashers to the eons, and they raised up heirs unto the Lord. By controlling the parentage of the unborn brought they into the world a new race of men, of the same seed and blood as of old, and these heard the voice of the Lord. 4. And the Lord said unto man, Because thou kept not my commandments, thou hast brought affliction upon thyself, and thy people, to the farthest ends of the world. 5. Now will I raise thee up once more, and deliver the tribes of men from darkness into light. 6. And the Lord delivered man into wisdom, and peace and virtue. and the earth became as a garden of sweet-smelling flowers and luxurious fruit. 7. The Lord said, How sayest thou, O man? Shalt thou still have a keeper? 8. And man said, Behold, I am strong and wise. Go thou away from the earth. I understand thy commandments. 9. The Lord inquired, Knowest thou the meaning of, Love thy Creator? And man said, Yea, Lord. And to love my neighbor as myself. And to do good unto others with all my wisdom and strength. Yea, I have the all-highest light. I am wiser than the ancients. Behold, I want no Lord nor God. I am the highest product of all the universe. 10. The Lord said, I will try thee, O man. I will go away for a season. 11. So the Lord departed once more. And man had nothing to look up to, so he looked at himself and became vainglorious. And the tribes of men aspired to overcome one another. War and destruction followed. 12. Man forgot his Creator. He said, No eye seeth me, no ear heareth me. And he neglected to guard himself against a serpent corporeality. And the serpent said unto him, Partake thou of all things, for they are thine. 13. And man gave heed, and, lo and behold, the race of man descended into utter darkness. And man distinguished not his sister or mother. And woman distinguished not her brother or father. 14. And God beheld the wickedness of man, and he called out, saying, Hear my voice, O man. Hear the voice of the Lord. 15. But because of the darkness of man he could not hear the voice of God, his Lord. 16. And the Lord sent his angels down to man that they might appeal to man's understanding. 17. But the angels loved darkness also, and strove not to lift man up out of darkness. And the Lord was of no more avail amongst mortals, and he departed away from the earth. And man became on the earth as a harvest that is blighted and rotted because of its rankness. End of the second book of Lords.